Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I am Mike. Thank you for taking a moment of your day to spend it with me. And finally, get it up, baby! We are ranking every Scream movie, including Scream 6. Now, there may be Scream 6 spoilers for all the movies, obviously, because we'll be talking about them in detail, deep inside of them, deep inside of you. Did I say 2 fingers? I'm in 3. I've seen them all 1,000 times, but again, I wanted to rewatch 3 and 4 because those are the 2 I had the biggest trouble with where I wanted to rank them. By the way, when I did that, I decided to do a full commentary for each of those, which is available now on our commentary in the link below. But there's something else in the link below, and it's Sharon Stone. It is Sharon Stone. You know, if you put all 6 Scream movies together into one pile, it's going to be less than 12 hours of entertainment. In Search of Darkness Part 3 is out, and it's out as a box set together as a nice Easter set. And Easter's over, but we don't give a shit. We don't follow your rules, world. It's in this 3-piece set with a sweet slipcover, and it's over 14 hours of entertainment. Think about that. 3 documentaries. If you're huge fans of Never Sleep Again or the Crystal Lake documentary, Crystal Lake Memories, or any of that stuff, In Search of Darkness, it just covers everything, and it's so in-depth. 14 plus hours of entertainment you get. Now, this is a sale that ends today, and we're an affiliate of it, so when you click our link down below to check it out, you help us out as well. But yeah, this sale actually ends today. Is the last day of it. I have procrastinated, yes. And if you get that today, it comes with In Search of Darkness 1, 2, and 3. It comes with a sweet slipcase. It comes with 3 different posters, a membership card, digital copies of the film, a digital soundtrack, and 4+ hours of extras. Now, if you already have a couple of the other In Search of Darknesses, that's fine too, because they have special pricing on each one. The Part 3 bundle, which can include posters and the membership card as well. There's a whole bunch of stuff you could do, but again, it ends today. It's in the link down below. Check it out if that's something you want in your collection. And believe me, Dean, you do. And something I'm going to do is I'm going to rank this thing backwards today. That's right. We're going to start with number 1. Everybody knows what number 1 is going to be because you're crazy, in my opinion, if it's not. You're a fucking psychopath if you don't have Scream number 1 as your first movie. And I kid, I love difference of opinions, but for me, there's no question, there's nothing that comes even close to the original Scream 1996 Wes Craven's classic. It's maybe, in my opinion, could be arguable, could be the greatest horror film of all time. Yes, I said it, Greg. You want to come over here and fight me? It literally saved the genre of horror in a dark time where things weren't going well for horror. If you go back and look at the box office, look at where horror was, and when Scream came out, it revitalized the whole genre. It changed things. It made it believable. No longer was anybody afraid of monsters and supernatural beings. Scream brought it back to the forefront that not only could this just be a human being attacking you with a knife, it could happen to anyone, and it was happening to high school kids. They had the sex, they had the violence, they had the comedy. It was, to me, this movie encapsulates everything I love about horror. It's got maybe the greatest horror opening of all time, and so many classic characters. Think about this, that lasted 1 film. Billy, if you don't count the flashbacks, Stu, Tatum. So many characters didn't even make it out of this film, and yet are classic staples of the franchise. It is iconic. It is fucking Scream, man. Number 2, we're going in order so far. Number 1, by the way, Scream is a 10 out of 10 for me. There's no doubt about it. It's a perfect film. Number 2 for me is Scream 2, and this one I give a 9 to. I struggle here with this one and the next one. This is one of the 2 biggest struggles I actually had. The reason I ultimately went with Scream 2 as my number 2 Scream film is because it feels like Scream, but now it knows it's cool. You know, it's strange. Everyone in this film was just kind of at their coolest, whether it's their hair or the way they did shit. Now, that stuff doesn't really matter, but it's just fun to go back and look at. The idea that they went to college, the story actually made sense. It worked out the way they talked about themselves as a sequel. The film class talking about Godfather 2 and Aliens and all that stuff. It all just fit perfectly into this little box. And again, it has one of the greatest openings of the franchise as well. They kept that going. Scream 1 had a great opening, but there was no precedence for, hey, every opening's going to be like this. Scream 2 is really the one that was ingenuous, linguini, about bringing forth like, hey, we're going to do this every time. We're going to James Bond this bitch. And every single time we're going to put it on our backs to give you guys a crazy, insane opening. And Scream 2 does that in spades. And what looks like the funnest movie-going experience of all time in that opening there, but it has the best quote of all time with Dewey and the, how do you know that my dim-witted inexperience isn't merely a subtle form of manipulation used to lower people's expectations, thereby enhancing my ability to effectively maneuver within any given situation. Had one of the best killer reveals of all time with Josh Duhamel. with Timothy Oliphant and Miss Loomis. In my opinion, it maybe has the best soundtrack. It's hard. It's between this one and the first one for the best soundtrack. Inhale. Ooh, whoa. And again, more classic characters that didn't even make it out of this film, like Derek himself. You've got the classic singing I Think I Love You on top of the cafeteria tables. There's just so much to love about this movie, and nothing looks cooler than that logo with the 2 behind the Scream. I don't know what it is about that. It just fits perfectly. Scream 6 is my number 3. How lucky are we that we are at the 6th movie in a franchise, and I'm sitting here debating hard. What? Thanks for noticing. So part of the reason that Scream 2 beats out Scream 6 is because you just can't beat the originals in their prime, at their coolest and in their prime with Dewey, Nev, and Courtney Cox. But Scream 6 sort of does the same thing, and that's what puts it above 5 in my opinion. And the writers even said like it was so much easier to write Scream 6 because now we've seen these actors and actresses in these roles and we can really flesh those out. It really just masturbation, monster mash. It really just mixes together a whole lot easier now the way we're doing things. And I think Scream 2 was their case coming out of Scream 1. I think they took those characters and they knew them better and they had more fun with it. But Scream 6 does do the same thing. And by the way, we just did have an interview with one of the writers of Scream 6, Guy Busick. It's on the channel. Check it out. I'll put it at the end of this video. It had the same coolness that Scream 2 did. It just felt like weirdly hip. I don't know how to explain it. So many parallels to Scream. And I think they handled Sydney's departure perfectly. Whether she comes back or not, that one line of she deserves to be happy, that was beautiful. I loved the wild killer reveal. I know some people did not, but in my opinion, I love my killer to be a Mickey type. And to me, that is totally what Dermot Mulroney was. I mean, he went in there and just chewed the scenery, went fucking hard as a motherfucker, and totally did the whole Timothy Oliphant thing. And people who think it's too over the top, you got to go back to Scream 2 and look at that. Pretty much the same with his whole, didn't think of that, did you? Huh? He was kind of a Beavis and Butthead thing going on, but I don't care. I loved it. I loved taking our pants off and running backwards through a cornfield. Huh? But it's the goriest and possibly the meanest of the whole franchise. The first film was mentally meaner, but this film was definitely, in my opinion, I think the physically meanest and the goriest. Roger Jackson was on the top of his game. He's as good as he's been in the entire franchise with the excited voice work. It's one of the things I love to watch about these sequels is to see how excited he gets on the phone and how his voice kind of goes through those dynamics. In Scream 6, he was on fire. Literally, you're on fire! Another amazing opening. And the thing about these openings and these endings of these movies is they know that they're trying to show them something they've never seen before, so you're expecting it. The writers and the directors, they're all at a disadvantage knowing that you know and you're there to be wowed and expect to be wowed, and they somehow manage to surprise us with the opening of this movie. That is no small feat whatsoever. And you really actually care about the characters. The core 4, I grew to love even more. They really expanded them in all the right ways. Just the whole vibe of this franchise right now is in such good hands. And it feels so good to be a Scream fan. Everybody's a suspect. Scream 6 lands at a super 8.5 for me. So close to a 9. So close. So close. Want to touch the hiney. Aru. Aru. What movie is that from? Comment down below. Number 4, Scream 5 is an 8.5 for me as well, just barely below Scream 6. You know, Scream 5 coming in the middle of the pack of a franchise of which I love every single film, and every single film has its qualities, is perfect for a movie that was just a well-oiled machine. I mean, it being in the middle just makes perfect sense for this movie. It's the cream. 5 cream. Come on the kick drum. Come. Gary, on the kick drum. Come. What movie is that from? Anyways, it's right in the middle of the pack, right where it should be, because this movie took a franchise that had been dormant for a while and had never seen a movie done without Wes Craven, and they brought it back to the forefront. And as the writer said, it's a warm blanket for the franchise. It plays the fucking hits, man. And I will forever hate it a little bit for killing off Dewey, but I will say that I also will love it forever because they did make Dewey the coolest he's ever been. He was a fucking badass in this movie while he survived. It felt like Woodsboro, the way that they did the camera drops as the needle drops on the music when they show them sitting out in the park or whatever. They just crushed this fucking movie, in my opinion, for everything they meant to crush it for. Crush. Soda pop. I think Jack Quaid was an underratedly great killer from the franchise. It had another great soundtracks to it, and they do a great job bringing in the legacy characters while bringing in these new characters. There was a lot to work with in this movie, and I felt like they left the door open for some of the legacy characters to leave or come back, except for Dewey, of course. Wrong kid died. Number 5, and now this is why I did the list kind of backwards from the way we usually do it, because I feel like it being Scream number 1 is totally anticlimactic. But this is one of the hardest decisions to make for me. It was like, which one's going to come in 5th place? Which one's going to come in 6th place? Where am I going to come? Are you going to come? Everything's up in the air. My number 5 movie is Scream 3. It has overtaken Scream 4 as my second to last movie. And the reason is because, look, I just think this movie ages so much better than we expected it to. Every single time I watch Scream 3, I like it a little bit more. Now, when I first watched it, I kind of hated it, and then I grew to respect it, and then I grew to kind of like it. Now I'm like, fuck, I enjoy watching this movie. What's wrong with me? But I love the opening to it. I hate that Cotton died, but in these movies, people gotta die. Those are the rules. And I love the voice changer. I think that at times I like the voice changer existing, but I'm kind of glad that it's not a part of the whole franchise, because it's almost like a God mode game genie for fucking Ghostface. You know, if he can use anybody's voice using that thing, who's gonna stop him? And I love the line in the opening when he's being caught. He's like, now open the fucking door, Christine. I think that opening's underrated. And I also think the more we learn about Scream 5 and the Aaron Kruger scripts and what they went through with Dimension, not letting them basically put any fucking violence in a Scream movie. Ironic. But I mean, like, because of Columbine and all that stuff that happened, you almost feel bad for the movie and you kind of understand why Wes went the way he went. Now, there are still things I absolutely hate about the movie. The costume design is whack as fuck. If Scream 2 is like the coolest Scream, Scream 3 is the cheesiest fucking Scream. Not just in how they look, but I mean, like, Jesus Christ, that fucking hair. But the people's outfits, I don't know what was going on in their minds with this movie, but it did tie into how they kind of wanted to go a little bit more comedic with this film. And sometimes that works when it comes to some of the stuff with Dewey, and sometimes it doesn't. When it comes to the new cast, this is one of the few movies in the Scream franchise where I did not enjoy the new additions. I thought the actors playing the Scream characters were just, they focused on them too much. And the whole Gail and the actress playing her going all Scooby-Doo, I just thought that stuff was super corny. I thought at the end when Gail's like screaming and kind of acting silly like that actress was, I was like, that is not what Gail would be doing in that situation at all. But on the flip side of that, it's got a very serious reveal with Roman, and a really good reveal with Roman, and he's a really believable Ghostface. Didn't love the character until he became Ghostface, and then I was like Leonardo DiCaprio. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. They had the balls to go back and tie this one to the original in some strange ways. There's a great fight scene between him and Sidney that really shows how badass and strong Sidney has become. And let's talk about that, because Sidney is amazing in this movie. Very underrated in this movie, not just from the start. I love what they did with her. The fact that they put her in isolation and she is this help counselor for people is so perfect for her. That is, I like that so much better than her being on a book tour. And then the way that it ends with her, if they sent Sidney out on that note, there's nothing more perfect to me. Like, a part of me, I love Sidney Prescott, I love Neve Campbell, but damn, is that not a fucking perfect ending for Sidney Prescott when she just decides, you know what, I'm not even gonna set that fucking alarm. Fuck a bunch of Ghostface coming in my house in the middle of the woods. And then McDreamy's there like, we're going to watch a movie, Sid. It's just, what a perfect ending for her character. They just handled Sid right there. And again, there's no violence in the movie, but there is some ingenuity in it. From the fax machine kill that happened, that was pretty smart. The Sid and Roman fight at the end was great. Sid's mom's death scene. There's some weird little stuff in this franchise that's kind of fun. It had a good soundtrack to it. It had Lance Henriksen in it. And again, on the bad side of things, the end was just, right until the reveal, was so Three Stooges and corny. Like, Ghostface comes out and punches Dewey at one scene, and you literally hear like a thwack. It's so bad in spots. It really is bad in spots, but it's also good in spots. So that's why Scream 3 comes above Scream 4 to me. I give Scream 3 a 7.5. And in last place, But not least, actually, that's exactly what that means. But what I'm saying is I still love this movie too. Scream 4. I give Scream 4 a 7 out of 10. It's my least favorite Scream movie. But that being said, I still love it. I really do. I love all of these films. It's like Evil Dead so far at the very least. It is a franchise that has not had a pure miss in my opinion. I enjoy watching every one of these movies. I just happen to enjoy this one the least. And that's for a multitude of reasons. I don't love the killer reveal in this. Jill and Charlie, I find them to be unbelievable. From the opening scene, they pick up someone and throw them through double glass doors, and I'm like, I need one of you guys to be believable that you could actually physically pull this off. And neither Jill nor Charlie, I feel like, could have. I felt like people complained in 5 that it was too obvious. I was like, 4 is the most obvious. Charlie, I mean, he's a walking fucking serial killer, the McCulkin kid, the looks and shit he makes throughout the movie. I thought he was obvious. I thought he was a red herring. And then on the flip side with Jill, I mean, the family member, I hated the motive. I like I need fans. You know, I don't need friends, I need fans, but I did not like the whole Marsha, Sydney, it's all about you. I'm like, literally, we're lifting from the fucking Brady Bunch here? Come on, guys. I hated the look of the movie with that weird, blurry cinematography. It made me feel like I took an Ambien and went to the beach. It was just strange and sunny and weird. Out of all the movies, 5 and 6 included, Scream 4 feels like the biggest outlier in the franchise. The whole thing just feels strange. But there are positives. I love the kills in this movie. It got back to being mean, and it knew it needed to with the Olivia death scene. That was a great scene. And my favorite thing about the movie is that Dewey has Beverly Hills Cop theme song as his alarm on his phone. And I really love that him and Gail, we got to see them together and happy for one of the few moments of the franchise when they wake up in bed together. Sure, they had their issues or whatever, but they were together and they were making it work. And I really love that. That's just when you see what these two have gone through in real life and in the movies. Scream 4 holds a special place in my heart because you get to see them like living together and like happy or whatever. It's pretty neat. The addition of the new characters I thought were really good. I liked both the cops. I thought they fit in the Scream universe really well. I love Judy. I thought she fit in really well. I thought the film geeks were ahead of their time, but super annoying at the same time. Like, how many times do we have to see Robbie Mercer? Film pass with Robbie Mercer. Film pass with Robbie Mercer. It's like, all right. That idea was ahead of its time, but the tech was just dumb. It also has the weakest soundtrack of the bunch, in my opinion. Out of all the movies, Scream 4 has the weakest soundtrack. And I've never said this about any Scream movie before, but Roger Jackson actually felt a little off his game here, and he was still fucking great. He's Roger fucking Jackson, but in this movie, he just felt strange. I don't know if he was trying new things or what. It just felt weird, some of his line delivery. He had some great ones in there. Like, I'm gonna cut through your neck until I feel bone. But like, some of the other stuff just felt off. And finally, it had the weakest opening in the entire series, which is so important when it comes to these movies. But again, still love you, Scream 4. I just have learned to like Scream 3 better. But I'll never love anything more than you fucks. And don't forget, today is the last day to get that In Search of Darkness at that special price in that link below. Down there, you will also find our Patreon, which has commentaries of Scream 3 and 4 if you want to talk about this some more with me. And guys, thanks for taking the time. As always, I love your fucking faces. What is your ranking? Comment down below. Let me know. Whatever it is, I love you. Always have. And you know, by the way, before I go, I was sleeping last night, and then I was right in the middle of this good dream. And like all at once, I wake up from something that's been knocking at my brain. And before I go insane, I hold my pillow to my head and I wake up in my bed screaming out the words I said. Hey, I think I love you, so what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid that I'm not sure of. Halloween never ends, suck my fucking dick, and I don't really care what Blumhouse fucking says. Put him in a box for suck a fucking cock. You can say he's dead, but we all know he's not, yeah. So let's go trick-or-treating, let's go fucking drinking, let's all go in Pumpkinhead on VHS, cause Halloween never ends.